The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation or bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throb in my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
The Green Report. The man, Kyle Nash, Earnestly Podcast. First off, can I just say I miss G.
Yeah, listen, I love that you're putting the intro at the front of the show in proper fashion and not just post status where we hear the lovely Lauren, of course. In your life, she's some of the reason why you venture into mature subjects, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, listen, when we reference G, that would be the dude that's throwing down the sick beats, as it were, to open the show, which, by the way, listen, if you happen to be watching via YouTube on the Earnestly Speaking YouTube channel, bing, understand that that cartoon is not supposed to be Ernest. He's utilizing it. What I believe the original inspiration was is a shorn photo of Bigfoot. So with that in mind, let's do the show, buddy. Great to see you. Let me be among the last to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and among the first to wish you happy holidays.
Oh, that means the Mariah Carey music is back now. There you go.
Yeah, listen, Mariah Geddon starts here this weekend, starting in December 1st. Should you get caught listening to All I Want for Christmas Is You, you have to report that. Also, Whamageddon, a thing. If Last Christmas gives you its heart before Christmas, starting December 25th, you are supposed to announce that on social media. That is the phenomena, such that it was. The past 2 seasons, I've been able to survive Whamageddon. So let's see if I can do it again. By the way, side note and hot take, Last Christmas, not actually a Christmas song.
I've heard that, actually, I take before.
Yeah. It's a far stronger take than any moron that tries to tell me that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Hashtag I said it.
So it's not a Christmas movie, is it?
It is not a Christmas movie. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, you know what else is? Eyes Wide Shut. Bitches, 13 Christmas trees at least throughout the showing of that movie.
Well, Kyle, we got a lot to get to today on the report. A lot to get to.
Enough about this.
We're actually going to talk NBA in the back end, the very back end of this podcast. Also,
which, by the way, it'll be another simulcast situation. You'll see that pop up as part of the pre-record for the Student of the Game pod, because I will be at Amway Center for the Washington Wizards coming to town to battle the Magic.
Oh, God bless you, because they suck.
More on that.
Well,
that later.
Yeah, them and Jordan Poole. Oh, God. Well, so anyway, we're gonna talk about the NBA, of course, the back end of the show, because you got some thoughts, some takes to get off your chest. It is also conference championship weekend in college football. God, I'm so depressed. What a great year. What a great year.
Why are you so depressed? Is it because the SEC brought proper justice to the ACC and reminding the world that Louisville is a fraud?
Have you seen the title? You see the title of today's report?
I didn't yet, Ernest Christian.
Look up.
Oh, you have it up here. Oh, yeah, you're asking. See, behind the scenes, it is right there.
Yeah.
SOTG is F the ACC. You know, that's almost as if you're quoting something that happened behind.
Yes, a little tease behind the curtain of our group text of me, you, and Big Jim, our Falcon content group text we have on our text. But we'll get to that. We'll get to college football in a second. That's definitely a lot to unpack there.
Yes.
A lot of NFL to unpack.
Yes.
Let's start here first, though.
Yes.
With the breaking news yesterday.
Right.
Frank Reich fired again.
Yeah.
1 year later, by the Carolina Panthers, 1-10 start. Sorry.
Yeah, I obviously if this is one of those situations, if you have the law, pound the law. If you have the facts, pound the facts. If you have neither, pound the table, right? The fact, if you have the result, you have the facts that, hey, you won one game with the first overall pick and we mortgaged our team, you're the problem, GTFO. If people who think that's a proper reason to fire a coach before he finishes the year, I don't have a defense for it. I will say personally, it seems fast to me. This team has bigger problems than just Bryce Young and just the coach.
No.
Staff. And it's not that I think that Frank Reich is a superior coach. It's not that I think Frank Reich is a superior coach. But he needs more time. This team was way more broken than even I was aware of, right? I thought this is a team that could be sneaky good, and no, not even that.
Yeah. And not only that, if I'm not wrong here, I don't know if I'm wrong here, but according to Zach DeGenerate, of course, part of this podcast every Wednesday, he said that the drafting of Bryce Young wasn't even on him. It was on the front office.
That's quite plausible. I am not up on my Carolina Panther static, but I'll put it this way. That kind of thing, unless you're in the building, unless you cover the team regularly, you don't necessarily know. But I'm also not prepared to rule that out, right? I mean, just like it was alleged that Kyle Shanahan preferred the choice of Mac Jones over Trey Lance, allegedly, right? How all that goes, allegedly. So it's a scenario where that could be and would only further confuse something. Maybe they're I'm not saying it's Jim Harbaugh. It's probably not, but they could be in talks with somebody that they think they can get a hold of that they'd see as a replacement that would break, like you go for this guy, damn the torpedoes kind of a situation, right? So maybe like a Bill Belichick type or a Jim Harbaugh type, I know that's technically tampering, but that's a whole other question. EJ Christian. So EJ Christian or myself or somebody is frozen, and there's some shenanigans going on. So
I don't know if frozen, but I know it's okay. I heard everything you said there, but it's just going really, really slow. Which we'll hear. Listeners are going to hear that. I'm sure too. Lagging. I don't know if it was on my end, your end, but you sound lagging. But it could be my end. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah. If we ran the narrative that indeed the front office and David Tepper, the owner, was the ones that pushed for Bryce Young to be the first pick in the draft. Let's run over that real quick. Then how the fuck is Frank Reich being blamed for this? Because that's pretty much the centerpiece of this whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, the response then would be, and you still have the pounding the table of 1 in 10. We gave you this, and you couldn't do anything with it, right? It's the closest example I come up with that might be universally consumed are the issues in Moneyball between the GM and the, manager, that kind of thing. But I have no reason to believe anything that smart's going on in Carolina right now. I don't know, man. This does smell of a political issue. Think Trent Baalke and Jim Harbaugh, ironically, in San Francisco, that kind of a situation. Yet both entities appear to be doing just fine now. Whole other question, but whatever.
Yeah, I knew Frank was screwed. Like we all thought he could probably get fired in a year, but we knew he was screwed sooner than that when we heard the reports after the game against Tennessee this weekend that he was heard by media people throwing out the F-bomb in the locker room. So we knew that was coming. I also wonder if the combination of them being so bad and Bryce Young just not being that good this year, not necessarily his fault, but the team's really bad, in combination with C.J. Stroud doing what he's doing this year in Houston, I think kind of almost adds to the fuel to the fire, if you know what I mean. Salt in the wound, you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And one could argue that there's the sacrificial lamb concept. Maybe the front office is firing him to protect their own proverbial butts. And I'll put it this way. Considering how much they mortgaged to get Bryce Young and considering how much the offense is underperforming, I should more accurately say.
Yeah.
You need a lot more than that. I mean, this earth is pretty damn scorched. This job is going to be, I'm not going to say toxic, but it's certainly not attractive, right? Like, this is going to be a situation where the Raiders think back to when they had to hire Art Shell or Tom Cable and guys like this. Because who the bleep wants this job? Who knows, EJ Christian? Maybe you'll get an application. I have no idea. Maybe I should call up my guy, Big TJ. They'll get him in the building. Hey, at least.
Well, he's done football, though. He's done for sports.
Listen, at that salary, he might consider a comeback. Just gonna throw it out there.
I'm just saying. Oh, by the way, Panthers fans. Oh, we get the first pick next year. Oh, no, you don't. That goes to Chicago.
No, you don't. Exactly.
That's going to Chicago, buddy. So you screwed up there too as well.
You could sacrificial lamb Frank Reich all you want. No one's going to be happy in Carolina for some damn time.
All right, Buffalo Bills 6-6. You ready to throw dirt in the season yet, or you still think there's a chance of them to get the playoffs?
No, and we talked about this in the passing too. Like I kind of feel like, well, first of all, let's be clear: the fact they were able to compete with the defending NFL runners-up is fascinating. That went to an overtime game, if I remembered correctly.
It went overtime. And you took a lead in overtime.
Yeah. So, I can you really close the door on them? Like, the volatility. By the way, it's not like the Dolphins are looking particularly impressive either, sneaking past the Jets the way they did. Right.
Well, that's a blowout, wasn't it? That's 34-13.
Well, yeah. No. The Jets didn't score very many points. But and let me check. I thought it was 24-13.
34-13. They put the game away, pushed in the second half.
Okay, then yeah, I missed. Okay, then yeah. But even still, the punchline being, the Dolphins don't exactly look super impressive yet, too.
No, to your point, I agree.
I mean, regardless of what they did against the goddamn Jets, yeah, I was not. My the proverbial skirt was not very highly blown up. Just saying.
Well, let's look at the.
This was not a Marilyn Monroe moment for me, is what I'm telling you.
Well, we're not going to do a deep dive on locks this week. I think next week we'll start doing the locks a week, starting December. But looking at the entire AFC wildcard picture right now, to bring this up real quick, not on the screen because I'm not going to do that right now.
Because he's lazy.
I don't want to do that. No, I don't do that now. It's
a judgment-free zone. I'm just calling a spade a spade. That's all.
It is what it is. Well, so 6-6 now. Obviously, 2 games behind Miami in the division. Still up for grabs there because they got one game left ahead of them, week 18. But the rest of the conference though, like so right now, your wild cards are now currently 5 seed Steelers, 6 seed Browns, 7 seed the Colts.
So let's pump the brakes a skosh for the moment. Yes, it's today. Yes, Evil Twin Sean will on the of the Hulla podcast and 3 Count Thursday and all that. Jim's brother for all his.
Just huddle up. Just huddle up, not 3 count.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, well, huddle up then. But the punchline being, he is called the Colts frisky, and to his credit, that was a good call by him. I know he didn't have freaking Uncle Rico on his bingo card, but that's okay. I'm not mad. But to that point, like the Texans still have the other half of their divisional schedule yet. And they've already got one of the wins to the Jags, whereas the Colts were swept by them. So, I mean, I get it. You still got to face, the Texans and Titans one more time. Colts, okay, you might be a Titan, sure. But let's see what happens with that Colts-Texans game before we start declaring victory.
So, again, the problem, the issues we both had Buffalo coming, into the stretch. Coming to the year, first off, but especially on the stretch, though, isn't that not good enough to get in the playoffs? Because I will still say
enough. Yes,
I would still say, and again, the record isn't so for it, but upside wise, they are the outside of Cincinnati without Joe Burrow are probably the best team in this wildcard picture here. But their schedule is brutal.
Let's not say best team. Let's say highest ceiling.
That's a ceiling.
On a particular Sunday,
right?
If there's a team that's going to score a lot of points on a good team, not just put up 70 on a then struggling Broncos team, which holy crap, like I had somebody give me a hard time on Twitter, and rightly so. Let me be clear. I'm not mad that they said it. I wish I remembered the username. I'd give them the props here on their Student the Game report. But I had somebody who had read my piece from this week's game where with the Jags and the Texans after that game that I put up for the Jaguar report. Bing! And I had referred to the struggling Broncos as part of the Texans' remaining schedule. And he called me to question, would you really call the Broncos struggling? Today I still would, but man, I'll tell you, I said in the tweet, I respect the pushback because, man, they're teetering on the edge, Well,
that's actually a nice little segue there because
what
Denver
can I say except you're welcome?
I love it. 6-5 now. Again, we look at this picture. 5-seed Steelers, 6-seed Browns, 7-seed Colts. Then look it in. 6-5, 6-5, Texans and Broncos, 6-6 Bills, Bengals 5-6, but we can pretty much. I don't see that working out there for them. 5-7 Raiders, not really. 4-7 Chargers falling apart. So it's starting to take shape a little bit now in the AFC wildcard.
Right.
Broncos are one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Currently, they've won 5 in a row.
That Texans game is big though, Ernest Christian.
This coming Sunday, buddy.
Yeah.
This coming Sunday, it could decide one of the wildcard spots. Could. I'm not saying it will. It could.
It may not decide it, but it will decidedly have an impact because now the Texans have the advantage in conference record, and to have that notch of head-to-head,
right?
Huge, big deal, Ernest Christian. Big deal there. So let me ask you this, Kyle. Yes.
I won't ask you if they get in the playoffs. I'm going to ask you to give me a percentage. What was that?
Percent change?
And we're buffering again. Damn it! There we go. We're good. Are you there?
I blame Spectrum.
No, buffering again. Damn it!
Damn it!
Someone's internet's going crazy. I don't know if it's mine or yours, but someone's internet's going nuts today.
Spectrum's been acting funny today. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Right.
I'm not going to ask you Denver making the playoffs. I'm going to ask you this.
Percent
Denver Broncos. Percentage of chance making the playoffs.
Yes. Golly. Okay, so here's the thing. Looking at the Broncos schedule, right? So Chargers twice, Texans, and Lions. Not precisely favorable, not awful. Let's say they split the Chargers. I don't see them beating either the Texans or Madden Campbell and the Lions. So let's say they split the Chargers and lose those games. That is 3 losses there. And let's say they do the 3-game skid, it's just as likely that they win the last 3 games. That puts them at 9 wins. And they would have some tie breaks to beat. I think at the end of the day, they find themselves battling potentially the Texans. I mean, obviously, potentially the Texans. I mean, listen, let's make your point clearer. Like that head-to-head game, not only does that game matter for conference record, but head-to-head is a huge factor there. So, yeah, I mean, but to give you an actual percentage, and as I look at the other people that are in this scrum, I'm going to better than 30%, wouldn't you say?
Easily. I would say the only games, if you're on YouTube looking at the schedule up here on the screen now, if you look at the schedule, like obviously this week's games to Texans is humongous because of the Walker positioning number 1. So you got 2 Chargers games coming up after that, the week after, and then later New Year's Eve, which maybe a split because the Chargers are frisky, but I'm starting to believe the Chargers probably checked out now at this point.
Yeah, I agree too.
Right.
If they sweep the Chargers, then it's immediately 100% because I believe based on that, they're going to get 10 games.
Right. So the Texans, Chargers twice. Lions game on the road, it's a tough one because Lions are still playing for something in number 1. The Pats game should be a win to home. And then they close against the Raiders.
Yeah. Okay. So let me do it this way, Ernest Christian. I'll go by winnable games remaining, right? Mm-hmm. Texans game, I'll say is a no. Chargers, winnable. Lions game, no. Pats, huge winnable. Huge winnability. Chargers, huge winnability. Raiders, huge winnability, right? So I say that the second Chargers game is huge winnability because that's the one they're hosting at the Mile High, right? So, I mean, it's just like I said, that's where I get the 9 games from, is they have those final 3 games are just incredibly favorable, right? Ernest Christian,
Yeah, right.
I can't put that any better. Unless Russell Carrington Wilson suffers some sort of injury. Like, by the way, sneaky comeback player of the year candidate behind
I like that.
Behind Tua Tagovailoa, of course.
I'm gonna actually put him ahead of Tua, honestly, because Tua at least had a good year.
No.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
No.
Tua at least when he was healthy played well. But no, listen. Tua at least played well when he was healthy.
That's cute. Garbage take. Comeback is supposed to be about overcome adversity, not actually the fact that he played good before the concussion stuff happened is really why he earns it more. That no, this is a bad take.
You don't think playing with Nathaniel Hackett is enough adversity?
I mean, if you're implying that Nathaniel Hackett is more debilitating than a head trauma, that's a conversation I'm actually willing to have with you.
Here's what I'll say with that. I will put the Broncos right now at 50% chance of getting the playoffs right now. Okay? If they win this week against Houston, I'm putting it at 85%.
I'm willing to meet you in the middle at 40. That's what I'll say.
Okay. If they win this week, I feel even more better about their chances because of that schedule moving forward.
Oh, obviously. Yeah. Now,
you know
if they beat the Texans, huge increase, Ernest Christian. Huge increase. I am just the best at increases.
Yeah. So let's stay in the AFC quick then. Let's stay in the AFC.
Right.
Who is the best team right now in the AFC currently, you think, right now? You have 4 teams right now. You have 9-3 Ravens right now, currently 1 seed. They get a bye week this week, so that'll work itself out. Then you got 3 teams at 8-3. Chiefs, Dolphins, and Jags in order. I think in order.
Yeah. Well, and the way I think the way you've described CJ Stroud really goes hand in hand with how to answer this question, right? At least as you pose it. I'm assuming you're telling me who's playing the best football right now. The Chiefs, got to tell you, haven't looked ridiculously impressive. But what's hidden in there is people are still having trouble transitioning to realizing this is a defensive team. And hey, listen, for all the credit I give to Nick Wright, Chiefs homer extraordinaire in the national media, I got to this conclusion before he did because I did have the advantage of seeing it personally in Everbank Stadium with my writings of with the Jaguar Report. Bing! My talks about it on the Duval Dive podcast with Travis Holmes. Bing! And
you mean it took you 23 minutes to do bings, and now all of a sudden you're getting 3 bings in a row? I love it.
I was going to get a third one about the conversations I had in the locker room afterward for the 3-point conversion YouTube channel. Bing! But you interrupted that too. Shameless. Man, listen, I'm trying to get paid over here. No, joking.
I know. It's all good, brother. All good.
Of course it is. You tool. Bing? Whatever.
On the podcast, Bing?
Does that count as merchandising? I don't know. tpublic.com. Bing! Yeah. Anyways, so I say all the above to say this. I feel like the Ravens might be playing the best football right now, but I think there's too much football left to declare them that hot team that's, quote, getting hot at the right time. If you're getting hot now, it's not the right time. And by the way, let's be clear. It's not like they looked great against the Chargers either. So this is why that question's kind of tough. I could make an argument that the Broncos are the hottest team in the AFC, question mark.
The hottest team in the league outside Philadelphia, of course.
I mean, you can't really say the Jags are the hottest. Well, maybe. I mean, they're heating up. They're not on fire yet, right? By NBA Jam rules, they've got 2 wins. They can't be heating up.
That San Fran stench is still. That San Fran loss stench is still hanging around a little bit.
I'm going to say this: beating the Houston Texans in their house removed the stench from that game, especially considering that you not only beat a former 49er coach, they also run a 49er style offense, right? So. And not just listen, that score was 3 points apart. I get it. A lot of that was clock mismanagement by Doug Peterson. Listen, I know he said he would have, if he didn't have the ball coming to him to start the second half, that he would have taken the points for the field goal. That was a horrible call. Period. Point blank. End of story. Because when you have the opportunity to score before you get the ball back going into the third quarter, you have the chance to get that double up. You know what? I consider us kind of a tag team. You know, back again every week for the Student of the Game report. See what I did there, Ernest Christian?
Yeah, tag team on the roof.
You know, I mean, listen.
Why are you stripping for?
I mean, I know your anaconda don't want none. Anyway.
Oh God, I say why you're stripping for, and you say your anaconda don't want none. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
what can I say except you're welcome? No.
Are you cold? Cold fronts here?
It is cold here. That's why I had my jacket on before going into the pod, and now that I've been sitting inside, it's a little warmer again. Or maybe it's because we're making tag team references. I don't know.
60 degrees down here in down West Palm Beach. Orlando's what right now?
Oh my God! Who the hell cares? No, it was 49 this morning.
I was referring to our text messages last night about cold weather. And Jim was saying, "Oh, well, cold weather."
Oh yeah, well no, you colds like cold weather. Yeah, I called you and Ms. Christian dopes for liking cold weather. That's accurate.
And we're buffering again.
You know,
sucks.
Whatever. Carol Danvers is boring.
Don't buffer again.
Damn it. I was talking some cash trash too. That would have been good. Buffer. I'm buffering. When I'm working out, you know what I call it? Buffering. What?
Sounds good.
You're welcome, bitch. Good. No,
because talent, right? Yeah.
Because talent. Hashtag talent, bitch. Right. No. Listen, despite your dopiness and enjoying cold weather, hey, see, we're back on track. You have to think the Broncos are the hottest team. You can make an argument that the Jags are, like I said, but again, shedding the stink of all the stuff that you win in Houston, taking down a San Francisco style team, like I was saying, you can make that argument. That's really the best I can answer your question right now, because the Chiefs don't look it as much as Nick Wright wants you to believe it. The Ravens did not look great against the Chargers. I referenced that earlier. I mean, the Finns weren't exactly impressive. I mentioned that. Nobody. You know who the most impressive team is? You did say the AFC, I know, but the most impressive looking team is, and you alluded to this in our text previously, is the 49ers.
In the NFL overall.
Yeah, that's right. That was the ad. Right. They did what they were supposed to do against the Seahawks. I saw it coming. And Trent Williams, fool. Why aren't we having MVP?
Let me say this quick, though, about the AFC conversation. I'm 100% with you. The Ravens are probably playing the best of the bunch on top of the AFC to all the division winners. If you ask me who I have the most confidence in when it's all said and done in January, I'm still rolling with the Chiefs. Because it's Mahomes, it's that defense, and it's always the team that always the team you always have confidence with. Until Baltimore, look, Baltimore's in the Super Bowl bubble. They're not tier one. We all agree with that.
Right.
They're there. But
I'm not again another preseason, by the way, where all y'all fools are disrespecting, and I'm reminding you they're knocking on the door.
Lamar Jackson. But if you ask me who, that's right. Yeah, I forgot he gets middle name status. But the thing is, who do I have most confidence in when it's all said and done? I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs, they're not playing the best football right now. That being said, you tease the Niners real quick. They feel like the best team in football, even though Philadelphia has reflected a 10-1 record and has got to a pretty tough schedule the last couple weeks too, especially. But I still think that, and look, Eagle fans, what the fuck? We're gonna know on Sunday. We gonna know on Sunday a lot more because they play this Sunday.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I feel like the Niners are healthy now. Feel like the best team in football. Your thoughts?
Feels good. No, man. Listen, first of all, what a football game we're in for, right?
Yeah. Even more than the Chiefs, Eagles game. I'm looking forward to this game more.
Yeah. No. I think that's a valid argument. What makes this game fascinating is just all the trench warfare and how that all goes. However, it's it's hard for me to say that the Niners have an advantage because of their trenches when we're still relatively fresh from last year's postseason and Hassan Reddick changing the game because he just got the particularly good hit on Brock Purdy, right? Mm-hmm. Trent Williams seems to be doing his darn thing. You know, that's huge for the Niners. Listen, I think the 49ers might be the one team they don't try to quarterback sneak against. You know, or if they do, I don't blame you for having Hall of Famer and just overall talented human being Jason Kelce at center. I get it. One of the most gorgeous beards in the NFL, by the way.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, I'll say this: the main reason the Eagles have a better record is because Trent Williams got hurt. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. And if they do, they're not paying attention. So, but if you're doing a power ranking, I could see an argument for putting the Niners above the Eagles, especially if the Niners win this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. You know, yeah. I'll put it this way. That's probably how it would shake up on Tool Time once we get to it on the Huddle Up podcast. Bing!
You know what? Damn, you're good at this game. You know how you're doing this too damn long. You're doing this too way too long. Stay in the AFC real quick. Back to the AFC real quick. With that win, Houston over Houston, did the Jags put away the AFC South for good after this?
No. Okay. The defense is wrong. Bonus points if you know what movies that's from. I wrote about this. I alluded to this in my article in the Jaguar Report. Bing! What they managed to tighten up against Tennessee in the previous week. See what I did there, Ernest Christian. They came out and were just 100% a different team from what they were in week 3, acknowledging that the Texans are actually a good football team, by the way. I know that Texan fans are whining a butt ton about the calls in that game, but the officiating was pretty egregious for both sides, especially considering that the turnover caused by Trevor Lawrence was an obvious hold, and we don't have to talk about that right now. What we do, the Texans' schedule is more favorable than the Jags. The one thing that evens that out a little bit, Ernest Christian, is Joseph Burrow getting hurt and putting Jake in there for the upcoming Monday night game, which is not this weekend, but the following. So, or is it this week? I think it is this week now that I say it. So,
yeah, it is.
Maybe I'm just trying to mentally block that for now. How crazy it is. But listen, with all that in mind, Ernest Christian, I feel like the Texans are still in the game, but the Jaguars have a rougher road, but are in the driver's seat. If that makes sense.
Right. It makes sense. But I feel like the Jags did something on Sunday that the Titans are a solid team. They're going to be good in the years to come. I mean, you hope with that quarterback and how good he is right now. But I feel like there's still levels to this. And I said it before last week, like, talking about the Jags and Texans, I'm doing a pick. I was like, look, they'll hang in there, but I think the levels to this. I think the Jags are just a better team right now. And I think you ask a lot.
Better. Let's be careful with the term better, because
right now, in this sample right now, through 2023, I think they're a better team still.
I believe that the Jaguars' floor on a particular day, on a particular Sunday, is lower than the Texans, but their ceiling is higher.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hate to use your nomenclature in this instance, but I think it's the best way to explain it on the Earnestly Speaking podcast for your fans. If the Jags are more likely to shit the bed on a particular Sunday than the Texans are. I trust the Texans more to be consistent.
The problem is you need 2 Sundays to have to happen. I don't see a 2-game swing between those two at this point. 8-3, 6-5. I don't see a 2-game swing at this point. 6 weeks ago, I don't see it. Maybe it could happen. I get wrong, and I'll own it, but I just don't see it at this point.
I know, and that's a fair take. I mean, among the remaining teams on the schedule is an epic road game, traveling distances unparalleled in the universe. Tampa, Florida, from Jacksonville, which I think should be a dub on Christmas Eve. And then, of course, the final home game of the year, That's the last 1:00 game, by the way. That's on the regular season schedule at Everbank Stadium, the Carolina Panthers, because the Monday night and the Sunday night, I think it's December 17th, is against the Ravens. That's obviously the most difficult remaining game.
And with Houston too, also like all of a sudden the Denver game now is a tough game now. All out of nowhere, it became a tough game.
Yeah, that's the one I got pushback on. Yeah. Which and rightly so. Yeah, that suddenly became huge game. Ernest Christian. Huge game.
One last NFL thing, and this is something I stole from First Take last week. I don't give a shit. I stole it. I like the topic though.
I mean, I wish you'd stole it from a good show because First Take.
Yeah, but right. But I I get it. No, but I like the topic here because it's something interesting.
And for the record, I don't blame Stephen A. Smith for that. Well, I blame Stephen A. Smith, the producer, not Stephen A. Smith, the talent. How about that?
But I have to ask though, whose legacy benefits more from winning the Super Bowl? Say happens this year or next, or whatever, but this year especially. Right. Dak Prescott or Lamar Jackson?
Oh, it's Dakota Prescott, and it's not close. Because
totally
at the end of the day, Lamar Demetrius Jackson is already a big reason and part of the completion of the reinvention of the quarterback position such that it is, right? I have talked to Hall of Fame NFL alums in person about this, and all of them with ubiquity, save for one guy, and that's Jay Glazer, and then also Ndamukong Suh, which he's not a Hall of Famer, and I don't know that he will be. I think that's an interesting conversation, but
fringe at best.
Let's table it, but yeah, I at any rate, punchline being, the state of the NFL is if you aren't mobile, you aren't a top fiver. Period. There's not a middle ground around that.
Right. I think it's actually it's more simple. It's Dakota with a bullet because of the fact that he's a Dallas Cowboy. Perception is reality. Perception is everything in the NFL.
Right. No. For all the hell that he gets from his own fan base, I might add, but just from being getting what I call the Forbes push, right? The Dallas Cowboys. It's not about America's team. It's about being at the top of Forbes with the most valuable franchise. Okay, that's what it is. In my mind. Now, is there an element of correlation there? Sure, that's another question. But yeah, no, you're 1,000,000,000% correct. And just considering how many times things around him failed, and not him, a la Tony Romo and the Cowboys defense, they both have been screwed by that at some juncture. Yeah, I agree. It's Dakota outright. And by the way, if Dakota gets a Super Bowl, he won't. That will be his legacy, where if Lamar gets a Super Bowl, that's going to be kind of an undercard to what he was as a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I feel like too also with Lamar. Lamar will still get his flowers even when he wins a Super Bowl. He'll get his flowers because he's proven to be a winner already as is. And it's less pressure playing Baltimore. Like we acknowledge that Lamar has not had the requisite talent around him for his entire career.
It's different.
So he gets a pass.
It's different. You're using the market defense. I can't do that because Lamar was what he was and was so polarizing, fair or not, in the space when he was drafted. And even when he was successful, even to this day, people still criticize his passing ability, which just makes no goddamn sense to me.
Yeah.
It's
but it's Dak with a bullet, man. Like, again, he's a Dallas Cowboy. That's your first check mark off the list of things. Why? Okay, you win first off. You win if he gets to Super Bowl first off for the first time in 27 years this season, if something happens, that's a massive. It's a massive.
It's a drought. It's a drought breaker that holds all the more weight. Like for all the trash talk in Dallas up to this point. I mean, I would make it tantamount to Peyton Williams Manning, all the time that he was known as a choke artist. When he finally got the Super Bowl, beating the Bears, who was easily the weakest Super Bowl opponent in NFL history, or at least modern history, that changed his outcome. Then he lost it for a bit when he got blown out in the Super Bowl by Seattle, and then he got it all back when he won against the Panthers. So whatever, say whatever you will about that, Ernest Christian, but like, yeah, the narrative will completely change, fair or not. Buffering. Hello, I'm buffering. I'm here at the gym. I'm buffering. I'm getting all these curls. Oh no, I'm getting the round circly thing from Ernest Christian. Why do you suck, Spectrum? You suck so hard. Damn it. Do we get some basketball? When are we going to get back on? This is very annoying. This up with the internet's dumb. I'll stay in studio because EJ says to. Now EJ is gone, so I will stay in studio because he said to. Still recording. Can't pause the recording because I don't have the button. I'm not the host. The host is gone. EJ's driving in the van, doesn't know if I'm a fan of what he's doing right now, making funny songs. He's going to hear this later and wonder what I'm smoking. Answer is I'm not. You're just a chump. Woo! So yeah, like I'm stalling a lot here, in case you didn't notice. Post-production should at least be a lot of fun. And yeah. By the way, Dr. Cox is the
good
man.
job. Good job, buddy. Sorry, I know it was on my end, your end, but this is my end. This one now, the internet here. All right, let's get to before we have another meltdown here with this freaking podcast here. But it's been a good show today so far. Let's get to the college football now.
Yes,
and we'll show the AP rankings. This is the final AP rankings before we get to Sunday next week.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
And obviously, we're really focused on the top 8, I guess, want to do that. Because I still think demarcation is 8 teams who have a realistic chance to get in the playoff. Even if it's a long shot for Texas and Alabama, there's still a chance, depending on things playing out. You're there, right? You see this?
I see it. I need to see who's 5th, so I need to see specifically.
Right, so one Georgia.
Screw it.
Michigan went 1 spot to 2. Washington up 1 spot to 3. My Knowles 1 spot to 4. 5 is Oregon, moved up 1 spot.
Yeah.
Ohio State dropped 4 spots to 6.
And rightly so.
Right. 7 and 8, Texas, Alabama in that order. All right. So let's do this first, Kyle, before we get to the possibilities here. Tonight's rankings. How should it look like? Did the AP get it right?
Hail to the no. To the no, no, no. Hell no, no. To the no, no. To the no, no, no.
How should tonight's rankings look tonight when they reveal tonight?
Well, and actually, here's the thing. I was hoping you would have more than just the top 4 there too. I will do it on my own screen here.
Right here. It's 5 and 6 right here.
Okay. No. That's not what I need to say. EJ Christian, let me work. Is this the EJ Christian tool time report? No, this is Student the Game report.
That's very true. Okay. Dickhead.
By the way, I love how these cowards have NC State and Oregon State tied for 21. Cowards.
Oh, they pulled a 1A, 1B?
Yes.
Oh, they pulled Ernest Christian. Very good.
They sure did. The cowards.
EJ is strong on you, buddy.
By the way, Louisville.
Oh my God.
15th. Why?
Okay.
Why?
Real quick. Okay. Well, you know what? Since you're saying that now, so 24, James Madison. Okay.
I like Liberty at 21. That does show that they aren't cowards on some fronts.
CMU 25. Toledo 23. Oregon State 22. No problem. Well, 21, even NC State and Oregon State. You got a problem with
that? I just don't like the cowardly nature of the 1A, 1B trash. It tells me how bad the ACC is, where a 4-win team is still competing with an ACC team that's a 4-win loss team rather, competing with a team with 3 losses for a spot. But okay, cool.
To be fair, it is all based on votes, though, and you'll have the same amount of votes. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, and you're not wrong, but cowards. Anyways, by the way, love Tulane at 17. By the way, that tickles me a bit.
7-1 too, not bad.
Yeah, they ranked
look at Irish,
and rightly so. Yeah, Notre Dame at 16. Notre Dame being ranked beneath Louisville. I suppose you have to do it technically, but I think Tulane should be ranked above both of them. Just a 3-loss team being ranked.
You want to gloat now on 15 because technically the name of this podcast, today's episode is actually there. It's stirring at 15 right now is the reason why.
Yeah,
the ACC.
Yeah, the ACC, is awful and was exposed by the Kentucky Wildcats thusly. And the fact that they're only 15 and aren't lower is just absolutely stupid. They should be below the following: Tulane. No, they shouldn't be below Iowa. Oklahoma State. I think they should be below Liberty.
Yeah.
Choking like that late with 2 losses, but the cowards won't do it.
Tough crowd here.
Toledo in the top 25. That's adorable. Sorry, I'm not a fan of Maction. Okay.
Right. 14 at Arizona.
Yeah, I love 14. I love Arizona at 14. This the way they've showed out against so many highly ranked and very talented offenses. LSU is a bit high, but that's fine, I guess. I don't know. Oklahoma at 12 is embarrassing. Texas at 7 is questionable. Missouri at 9. Why is Penn State top 10? What the hell are we doing here?
I'd rather put Ole Miss there personally. This is me.
This guy gets it,
There you go.
But yeah, this trash where FSU is still competing for a top 4 spot is just
why though, right?
Because they're undefeated. Who cares? You know what you're doing. And Joel Klatt has said this and made this point, and rightly so. Okay, see what I did there? Hit the Klatt, bitch. So FSU has now shown college football that it's advantageous to powder puff your schedules and sneak into the top 12 in the upcoming season. Now, granted, a lot of the schedules are already built for the next season, but what you're going to see is as the top 12 playoff structure takes place, you aren't going to see the big football matchups that we're expected to see or were promised to see, because teams will be hiding from one another because they saw the way Florida State benefited from it. If they want the benefit of the Big 12, or excuse me, the 12-team playoff to take place, Florida State needs to be punished for their garbage-ass schedule. And this has nothing to do with the injury to Jordan Travis, by the way.
Right. Here's where I'll disagree with you on that. Okay?
I mean, you have every right to be wrong. It's your show.
I'm down. I'm not. I agree with Joel Klatt and with you. I've been saying it even before this injury happened. I've been saying that Florida State, on paper, in terms of just competition, I don't think they're better than the following. Obviously, the top 3 teams: Washington, Michigan, Georgia. I don't think they're better right now than Oregon. I don't think they're better than Ohio State. I don't think they're better than Alabama. I don't think they're better than Texas, probably. Right?
I'm not sure. They're better than Missouri right now.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Florida State, you can't. I don't think anybody thought that Clemson would be this bad this year. I don't think anybody thought that Florida would be this bad this year. But Florida not being bowl eligible, that's something that, look, Florida can have a down year, but down in Florida is like 8 wins. 8, maybe 7 wins. Right
here. Florida's been trending down since the Gus Perillo 2 years ago.
But 5 wins, though. 5 wins, child.
Your better defense is Clemson.
Right.
I don't give a damn what you expected. This is supposed to be for the year's events.
Right.
And the year's events are that they have been bad. And Florida State still needed overtime to beat them. But don't even come at me with that trash. Like that's an in-conference game. Now, granted, they have an out-of-conference game in LSU, and for a single half of football, the second half most specifically, made them look awful. I completely get it. You know what that was? September.
Let me tell you right now.
Barely September.
If Florida State lost a game this year, they wouldn't probably be in the top 10. That's how bad it is.
Who cares?
Because they're unbeaten And because they're
You're
Power
making
5
my
school.
point for me with that. You understand.
Right. But they're going to probably get in if they win Louisville this week. I get it.
And that's trash.
I think Oregon's better, personally. But again,
we went down the list of teams who are better. I don't care if you're undefeated. If you beat up a bunch of 8th graders, I don't get to give you the title of heavyweight champion of the world.
I don't know, man. I see. Look, I agree with the argument of they're not good, this and that. But everybody also agrees that they should get in because of the fact because they
no, they won't. No, they won't. They hid.
Joe Klein said that. Joe Platt said it. Matt Berry said it. Even Paul
Matt Berry
said
is not a viable defense. That is a fantasy analyst who is not good at.
He's been the most critical FSU hater of the season this year about that.
Shit. He's still bad at his job.
He's making your case right now. He's saying the same thing you're saying right now.
So Matt Berry is reducing my credibility, is what you're telling me.
No, he's actually adding credibility. He's actually, look. I think the 4 best teams right now in college football. Really, I think Oregon is probably better than. I don't know if you saw that spread against Oregon, Washington. Oh my God, Oregon might be the top 3 team right now in college football, but they can't be top 3 because they lost to Washington.
Here's what I hate is Oregon lost on the field and gets the unfair opportunity to try again to right their wrong, and I get that, and it sucks for Washington to have played the football that they have and get beat by a team that they already beat and be penalized. And the fact that, they're undefeated, hiding in the ACC, which they're desperately trying to get out of right now. This is how great your conference is, Ernest Christian. FSU is currently, starting next year, making less broadcasting revenue on TV than UCF. Understand that.
Interesting.
Your conference is awful.
I've always said that.
Buddy, then what's your defense? Your defense of they're undefeated is no better than somebody that comes out with he's got 6 rings for Michael Jordan over LeBron.
This is literally 2014 all over again. Literally 2014 all over again. This is not a surprise. That's all I'm saying. Now that being said,
no, I don't think so. I think there's there's a lot more. The gap is bigger between the teams that were trying to sneak in than in 2014.
Which I'm going to get to the next point here. The take I heard yesterday from a guy that I never thought we'd give him credit for this, but I'm going to say it here, Clay Tribus, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying here about Florida State shouldn't be in here and this and that, and Michigan playing Iowa on Saturday says for conclusion, is the argument now for let's do away with fucking conference championships. Fuck it. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Doesn't mean anything. No. Fuck it.
No,
because half these games will man shit. Because Georgia could lose on Saturday, and they're probably still getting it anyway. Which then fucks Oregon now. Teams like Oregon. Teams like
I don't think. Okay, so let's take a chill pill here for a minute.
All right. Mm-hmm.
If Oregon wins the conference, they're in. There's no middle ground here.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, then what are we talking about? I think the reason why now, if you want to have the conversation about doing away with conference championships in the 12-team format, another podcast, I'll entertain it.
Clay said to also do 16-team playoff, no conference championships. That way you really get the 16 best teams in the playoff. That's it.
No, that's a cluster. I want no part of a 16-team playoff. I think 12 is too many. Again, separate podcast. I think in this format, with what we're doing today, you need conference championships. So when you get the cluster that inevitably happens at this point at the top, you have another conversation piece and another data point. However, when you're hiding in the garbage ass ACC, that too should be accounted for. This is how bad the ACC is that their very existence as a conference weakens the conference champion moniker. The conference champion of the Pac-12, a conference which will cease to be shortly.
Again, I can't use the word
than the ACC. That's a problem. All right. The conference champion of the Big Ten has some gravitas, as does being the conference champion for what is clearly the best conference in America, despite an alleged down year. I shouldn't say alleged. It actually is a down year for the conference. even though they beat an alleged top 10 team in Louisville. See, now I'm back on track.
I push back on the hiding part. That's it. Because again, I don't think Florida State can account for
the rest of America and Notre Dame season.
Florida State. Look, Florida and Miami are always at least solid every year. At the very least.
No, they're not.
Solid. They're not horrible.
No, they're not.
Miami's never worse. Miami's never worse than 6 wins a year. Florida, 5 wins. That's not Florida. Florida at least got 6 wins.
Hold up. What's your standard, first of all? And don't bring up Florida. Florida's not the ACC.
Right, true. But
a while. That's why the coach left for Billy Napier to take over in the first place. Florida missing the bowl games isn't shocking. Okay, it was on the board from moment one. Shocking. They had a very difficult schedule, and that's the part you're leaving out in your analysis. I get it. You're a basketball guy, he said jokingly.
Slightly.
So stop bringing Florida into this. That is not a good. That's not example. That's not even an ACC.
I think Clemson is a better example. Clemson.
Well, didn't I say that earlier?
Yeah.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. Get Logan or Tom back in here. Sorry. Get Travis and Patrick back in here. Sorry. Get Logan and Eli in here. They'll correct you.
Here's a team that's on the verge of getting fucked here, probably, if things play out. Washington.
Yeah. But then again, see, at the end of the day, they're still in the driver's seat. They're not going to garner any.
They have to win, though.
That's my point.
So, Kyle, if they lose, if Georgia wins, Michigan wins, which should happen, Florida State wins, and Oregon wins, Washington's going to fucking get squeezed out.
And they should be in ahead of FSU.
No. So that's the complicated thing, though, because you're not necessarily wrong. You're not necessarily wrong on that. But it's unfair to Washington to be play this team twice now. After they've been once already. That's all I'm saying. That's why the conference championship sucks now with this situation for them. Okay, real quick. Alabama first. Alabama, number 8.
Yes.
Give me a percentage chance to get in the playoff. What do they have to do?
5%.
They beat Georgia, they're in?
No.
What do they need?
They need Georgia to lose. They need Texas to lose the Big 12 conference.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's it pretty much, I think.
Do they leapfrog Florida State? That's interesting. And
if they lose, if FSU lose, because again, the unbeaten thing's going to be. I said this weeks ago. They're putting a premium on the beaten records.
I think Alabama may get in. A conference champion Alabama may get in over an undefeated FSU. And rightly so, frankly.
Okay. Texas.
Ole Miss being ranked as high as they are, and you think they should be a top 10 team, and Penn State's still getting freaking bloviated by the I don't get that shit. That's just pure ignorance. The love for Iowa and Penn State in these polls and in the committee are just unacceptable.
Texas real quick. What's the percentage chance getting anything?
Excuse me. Texas needs some chaos, man. I think that's at about 5% too. And part of the reason why I think Alabama's so low is if the same scenario happens, and obviously if FSU loses, they're done. Bye. See ya.
But of course, yeah, absolutely, no question,
and rightly so.
Absolutely.
Okay. But what that starts is the logjam. Texas, Alabama, assuming they win their conference championships, and then a Washington team with a single loss that lost in the conference championship. Those will be your 3 competitors should FSU blow it against Louisville, right? By the way, if Louisville ends up in the damn playoff,
there's no way. There's zero path again there.
I'm pretty sure.
No, zero path.
I'm just going to skip huddle up that night because
Kyle, there's zero path again in the playoff. Zero path,
buddy.
Create a path right now.
I admire your faith in the committee. I don't share it. That's all I'm saying.
They're number 15.
They'll get the statement and stop trying to be a debater for 30 seconds. I'm just making the statement for what it's worth. If Louisville makes it to the playoff, I am not appearing on that Tuesday show.
I don't blame you.
And
I don't
rightly
blame
so.
you. And you know what? I might join you on that strike.
To answer your question, the three teams I think that are the logjam at that point: Texas, Alabama, Washington. If Texas wins their conference, I think the committee will bring Texas in and unfairly penalize Washington, right? If you look to last year as a reference, Ernest Christian, if Washington loses their conference championship, as does Alabama and Texas, Washington is in. Okay, and remember, this is what happened last year. Everybody blew it at the conference tournament or conference
especially too.
Right? Yeah. So if Washington loses, if Texas loses, if FSU loses, and Bama loses, which obviously we all feel like the most likely scenario there is Bama losing their conference championship, right? If all those dominoes fall, I think Washington gets in.
Yeah.
If all of the above happens and Texas wins their conference, I think they're in. If Alabama wins their conference and FSU loses, I think they're in. I think if everybody else loses their conference championship except FSU, the committee will put them there, but don't be surprised if I cry foul. Just because, again, going through the Pac-12, falling out of the lead in the Pac-12 because you were playing a championship game. And oh, by the way, the committee says they allege that injuries matter. They're liars, because to believe that Carnell Jones was going to be what he was not a proper prediction, in my opinion. And yet he went on to win the damn championship. But if it's true that the committee accounts for injuries, that hurts Florida State as well, whether they win or not. They have to blow out Louisville based on their language. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. No shot Louisville gets in there. No shot. Minus 42.
Buddy, it's not that I disagree with you. I'm just unable to acknowledge the committee will get it right until they get it right.
Okay. So let's go through without the spread. We'll just pick these games. Let's pick the games for the conference championship weekend. And quickly, let's get quick predictions here. The ones that matter.
I reserve the right to change my pick on Huddle Up, but we can go ahead and go.
Yeah. Just straight up. That Oregon spread, though. I mean, it opened at 7. I knew Oregon would be favored. Yeah, I was shocked when it opened at 7.5, and then it ballooned to 9.5 a day later.
I'm not just because of how Washington has looked in the past few games.
But Washington's a tougher team, though.
How Bo Nix has looked as well.
No,
he's
I agree.
Played some of the best football we've seen in 2023. And I think you're getting that extra. Listen, you're a degenerate. You know this better than I do. When somebody's hot versus somebody who's not, the money gets artificially blown up. What you're telling America is take the 13.5. Right? Oh, shit.
Well, 9.5.
But what you're telling America is to take the money. Yeah, I'm here. Now.
Yeah. A little delay here again. Fucking buffering.
Buffering.
It's okay.
It's so strong now.
All right, this game will decide the Heisman Trophy winner. For the record.
No, I don't think it will. Well, it will. If Bo Nix wins this game, he'll have the Heisman Trophy. And that's not how it should work, but it's how it will work. I don't think the committee, or the voters, I should say in this case, has the strength and audacity to give Michael Penix the nod. I don't think so. I'm
picking Oregon this game. I'm picking Oregon this game.
Yeah, and that's fair. But the reason that Oregon wins this game has nothing to do with the quarterback. I mean, obviously he's good, but it's the defense, I think, that's going to be the X factor. And I think Michael Penix, I'm not saying he's going to have his worst game of the year, but he will struggle in this game more than he did the first one.
All right, so Oregon. We both have Oregon. What about the Big 12 title? Texas, Oklahoma State. Who wins?
Listen,
easier. Texas?
Of course.
Okay.
I've seen Oklahoma State play in person. The blueprint is there, and UCF showed it to you. Dare their guy to throw the ball.
Yeah. What about the SEC title game, Georgia, Alabama? Should be easy, right? I mean, should it?
I mean, I don't know what the spread is, and I don't care. I'm picking Georgia no matter what.
Only 5.5, actually.
That sounds about right. I would say 7, but if they got,
I think I'm gonna cover it. I think they'll cover. Honestly,
yeah, you can have your 5 points. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the ACC title game, Florida State, Louisville. Who wins? This game scares me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I think Louisville wins it on the strength of the fact that they have their starting quarterback, and FSU doesn't.
I'll pick FSU just because I'm a fan, but it would not shock me. Louisville wins the game.
Homer.
Yep. And then Michigan. Do you see the spread? So Michigan is 23-point favorites. The over under is 35 points. Basically, what they're saying that they don't think Iowa will score any points in this game.
They won't. Like I
Michigan
saw
wins, obviously.
They were winning a game. I think it was like 22-7, and somebody put out a tweet. I wish I knew who it was. Somebody put out a tweet. The classless blowout by Iowa is unacceptable. They were saying ironically, of course.
That's great. So you obviously got Michigan. So okay. So you believe that your Final Four next week will be the following: Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and who'll be the 4th team? Texas. That's your playoff for next week.
It is.
It makes sense. Makes sense. All right. We got a couple minutes. Go ahead. NBA takes you have got off your mind. Boom. What you got for me?
I like it. So first of all, we talked about this earlier in the year, and in order, let me tell you this. And granted, before I get too excited, or anybody gets too excited in general, let's be clear about that. There's still what 60 something games?
67 games left in the season.
65 because math. Specific to the Orlando Magic, there's 65 games before the end of the season. They didn't get to 12 games last year until mid to late December. They currently are 12-5, including victories over the LA Lakers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the one I saw in person this time last week, the defending champion, Denver Nuggets. Ernest.
Wait. You forgot one more team in that list. Another elite team, the Celtics.
Oh yeah, and they beat the Celtics the next day.
This past Saturday.
You're right. The next game they won was the Celtics. You're completely correct, sir. Yes, thank you. I should include that. Now, a fine argument is that a lot of teams at this time of year are still kind of getting things figured out. You know, you're more likely to get load management, et cetera, et cetera. But how impressed are you by the Orlando Magic?
I'm surprised they're this good. I told everybody before you started they'll be a play-in team. I told you last year they had moments where they were beating the Bucks. These same teams you mentioned they were beating last year too during the year, but then they'll lose against the bad teams for some weird reason. And I said this team
they dropped one in Chicago that I thought was a little silly.
Well, again, this is the NBA. The NBA is a weird sport.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they're this good. Again, the challenge here for them is sustainability, because Orlando actually through the last 7-8 years have had a habit of starting the year off well, 6-2, 7-2. You know, these kind of starts, and then they'll tail off in December, and the season goes to shit.
Well, and right, Fultz will get hurt, Isaac will get hurt, and it goes to hell. And
right.
Markelle Fultz has already missed significant time. Jonathan Isaac is staying relatively healthy, but you know, seeing Anthony Black get in there and he's tougher than I thought he'd be. I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
How seriously can I still take your Miami Heat? Are you buffering or are you thinking really? EJ Christian?
Well, if the thing's not buffering for a second, Miami's issue is going to be just staying healthy to the playoffs. That's going to be their issue. It's all about they're at a point now, but they don't necessarily prioritize regular season. They just stay healthy, stay the course, and then they get to the playoffs. Then they go for broke. What I will say with the Heat, Bam taking another leap this year. Tyler Hero prior to getting hurt.
Bam took another leap in the finals, performing the way he did against Joe.
Right,
Let's
correct.
be clear about that.
Yes, you call that, yes.
No, I didn't call that. He made me look like a fool. I thought he would be neutralized. I started blaring from the cheap seats and acknowledge it. Listen, he was my tribal chief during the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Acknowledge him, okay?
You're also seeing why the Heat didn't necessarily pull the trigger on the Dame Lillard deal, and then not pull the trigger, more so like add more young pieces to the pie to entice the deal, because those young players that they drafted, Hawkwez is right now the third best rookie in the league right now, behind Wemby and Chet Holmgren, who right now 1 and 2 clear cut rookie of the year candidates. And again, Spoelstra, one day Heat fans will learn to trust in Eric Spoelstra.
Spo will be a Hall of Famer. We've had that conversation.
Right. So it's about staying healthy. I think they'll be in the mix when all said and done, because they've been doing this for 5 years now with this core, and it's worked. They got to 2 finals, and we're 17 seconds from another finals appearance 2 years ago. So stay the course to be fine.
Okay. Well, and I'll say this too. When you say stay healthy, I specifically for the Magic meant at the time Markelle Fultz. You specifically mean Tyler Hero. Let's call that what it is too.
Yes, but it was funny. Hero got hurt in the playoffs last year. They still didn't need him. Went to the finals. They could have used him in the finals, but let's not. I don't think his injury would have impacted the result of the finals. Honestly,
they had some things go their way. Like, it's not every series where freaking Giannis is going to get hurt. For example.
Well, the Milwaukee series definitely got a break on.
And I feel like they faced the Knicks, which what was that?
No, and the Knicks series, Jimmy got hurt. He missed one game actually in that series, Jimmy.
No. What I'm saying is they played the Knicks instead of a different squad who I think they would have had a tougher time with.
The Cavs?
Yeah, I think they would have had a tougher time with the Cavs.
Probably.
So they had that go their direction. Mm-hmm. Then the historical collapse of the Boston Celtics. Like, too many things went the Heat's way for me to feel comfortable with them and going, meh, stay healthy. I'm not going to say they aren't a factor, because as long as Jimmy Butler is a thing and doing well, it's all good.
Let me be clear. I'm still taking Boston and Milwaukee over Miami right now. Let's be clear about that.
Well,
I'm going to say Miami.
Even though according to you their season's over, the Sixers I think are a bigger threat than the Heat right now.
I will say yes, as long as Embiid is healthy and long they need one more piece. They need one more, not even a star, just another solid B+ player on that team to really feel like, okay, now we can go, and they have the assets to do it. For the record, they do.
Okay. And I can't front on that. By the way, I love the timing on us going over this just as the college football season ends, and you can start to transition into the Christmas push by the NBA. But, there you go.
Anything else?
With that in mind, did you have the Minnesota Timberwolves at number 1?
No.
I'll say I didn't. That wasn't on the damn bingo card.
Fuck no. And the thing is, they may sustain this because their defense is really good. They got guys back. Jalen McDaniels is back now. Rudy Gobert, one of the best. I give Rudy Gobert shit because he's a zero. He's a minus on offense, but on defense, he's a fantastic interior player. He defends really well there. But my issue with the Wolves coming in here was the fact that Edwards, Cat, Anthony Towns pairing going to work out, because it is clearly Ant's team at this point now. It's his team. Right. So far, so good. I want to see this in January, February before I really start to feel like this team's a real contender, if you will.
And I got to watch Karl Anthony Towns play in person. I think he's an excellent player.
Mm-hmm. He is.
I'll put it this way. Him and Gobert on the floor at the same time is a fascinating dynamic to me. Granted, listen, at the end of the day, I think with that group, you mentioned their defense in the NBA now, when I analyze teams, and I've been told that it may not be the perfect way to do it. I'm still kind of developing it, but the first things I look at are 3-point percentage and where they rank in points allowed. Mm-hmm. This team among the NBA in defenses, you mentioned them being the force. So they may have to shoot less well, but they still, like, I know the Magic, for example, would kill to have their shooting numbers. That's what I'll say. Of course.
Anything else we got here?
Yeah, no, let me jump to this too. I'm not doing anything ridiculous like saying end the season now, but do you believe in the Suns? Because I sure don't. For my money, even though they're third right now, I still think the Denver Nuggets are the favorite out of the West. It's just the rest of these West teams don't impress me. Prove me wrong.
No. You're right there. I'll go a step further with that one. I think the Nuggets are the favorites of the NBA. I think right now the favorites to repeat as champions. I'll take them right now. I'll take them over Milwaukee and Boston right now. We'll see how things play out, injuries, all that stuff. Denver last night plays out Jokic, plays out Murray, who's still hurt. He's be back soon though. And I know the Clippers aren't playing well.
Murray not being present last week against the Magic was a huge part of that. Let me acknowledge that.
He's been out for a month now, and it's still holding the fort down. And they beat the Clippers on the road last night. A Clippers team that's still at full strength with West Harden and Westbrook and Kawhi and Paul George, and they still win in LA without Murray and Jokic. That team, and Aaron Gordon didn't play last night too, for the record. People forget that. This team is just Phoenix wise. Look, KD right now is in my MVP, maybe my MVP leader right now. To be honest with you, because he's been with Beal being out most of the year so far, only played 3 games. With Booker in on the lineup, Phoenix is one of the hottest teams in the league right now. 6 or 7 in a row right now as we're recording. KD has been fucking balling right now. But we're talking big picture. Big picture. Look, they got to get to the conference finals this year, and if you have Denver as a slot as one of the teams there, okay? I think it's wide open beyond that because I think the Warriors are done. I think Minnesota the Warriors are done. I think the Warriors title window's closed right now.
Even though we can have the conversation about how Draymond isn't all that in a bag of chips, but for the Warriors, the moment he's not on the floor,
he ain't the reason why. Klay Thompson's playing shit this year. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't mean to say he's not the only reason. I think he's the top reason.
Yeah.
But then you compare it with, Klay not delivering yet and all the list of factors.
They got lots of issues. Wiggins had a bad year this year too. So the West is kind of open. Like, yes, Minnesota, good start. OKC, great start.
The semifinalist is open. We'll put it that way.
Right. But there is right now no clear-cut second team that I feel like is challenging Denver when it's all said and done. See me in January, February for more clear picture. Phoenix would like. Phoenix is supposed to be the likely team to be in that spot, and they probably are. But right now, the Bradley Beal injury now, he's been out. I mean, the Heat dodged bullet in that one, to be honest with you. And then Booker being in our lineup, we'll see. So, I'll say Phoenix is still the number 2 team in the West on optics, based on just what I trust Durant. But
who do you trust?
Hubba. We need to see more with Phoenix though before I can lock them in. But right now, to me, what's clear is Denver is the heavy favorite in the Western Conference, and to me, the favorite to win the whole thing this year.
Am I wrong to be completely surprised that the Thunder are 2 OKC? Because I looked through their roster, and this is one of the teams like I got to study them more because nobody's coming off the ice for me.
They are fun to watch, my friend. SGA is an MVP candidate right now. SGA, remember I said this take a couple weeks ago, and everybody laughed at me, oh, top 5 player. Dude, he's ready in the top 10 right now at this point. ESPN had number 8 coming to the year. I had number 11 on my list. It is not foolish to see this guy, at the very least, flirt with a top 5 status next year if this team wins the playoffs series also this year, combined with the winning they're doing right now currently.
How much of it is Chet Holmgren doing his thing, though? Is that a large part?
That's a large part of it. Chet Holmgren right now might be Rookie of the Year. Might. Him and Wemby are now neck and neck.
Yeah, I mean, to compete with Wemby says plenty already. Let me go back to the match.
Yeah, Chet's impact is impacting winning right now on this team more than anything else. Wemby is still on a worse team right now currently, but
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind that.
Give me 2 more and we get out of here because I got to go.
Well, I'll like you mentioned the MVP race and such. Let me close with just this question too, because I feel like I hear already a lot of stirring within Orlando and the Magic community of Paolo as an MVP candidate. I think he shares too much credit for their success with Franz Wagner to pull that off. Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. I think Paulo is definitely. I wouldn't put him in my top 10 MVP candidates though. Right now, it's not a knock on him. It's just how
look, wouldn't.
I would not right now, and that's not a knock.
And that's pointless. Like
that's not even a knock on him. That's more a credit on the list of talent of amount of talent in the league right now.
It sounds like you're giving Jamal Mosley the credit. Then
I think that team as a whole is just playing together right now. But Paulo is the main reason. He's the best player. Obviously, we go there, but I think there's way too much talent in this league right now that there's way too much players standing out now. Luka standing out again, Durant, Embiid, Jokic, all those guys.
I don't see how you don't include Jokic in your top 5, and like
he's top 5. He's number 2.
Okay, perfect.
2,
so and with that in mind, I'll say this too. Like I asked Paulo post game about seeing Jokic come down the court at point center, how your mentality changes when he's running the ball down, when he's playing point center. Essentially, it still feels weird to say.
Yeah.
And he says we have to make sure he'll be everywhere. Give him his 2, he'll probably get his. We just got to make sure he doesn't dish to get somebody with a 3 on that team, which isn't that a hell of a note. A center is bringing down the ball with as a point center, as I like to call it. But then the biggest threat is him with chucking it to somebody for a 3 ball. That's crazy to me.
It's amazing. And he's so good at it too. So good at it. So
Earnestly anyway. Christian. Wait, how do we do this?
No. Good job. SOTG report, of course. Plug away, Kyle.
Honor, joy, and privilege. Thanks for coming aboard here, whether you're listening on the Earnestly Speaking podcast or during the slotted student of the game time, because I am currently at a Magic game. If you're listening to this there, it's always an honor, joy, and privilege. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram and Threads as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings with the Jaguar Report. Also, check out my work with the 3-point conversion, doing post-game interviews from Everbank Stadium when the Jags are at home, which they will be on Monday. So you'll see that stuff pop up there on the 3-point conversion YouTube channel. Also, my work as a media caster with Pro Sports Fans on the Pro Sports Fans app during Jaguar away games. Look for me and, of course, Big Cat Country's Travis Holmes to do a watch along with you. That's just as much fun as anything Eli and Peyton Manning do. I'm just saying, Ernest Christian, there's some silliness.
I would love to watch along soon.
Then with that in mind, you can also check me out with the Black and Gold Banneret covering the UCF Knights. I covered their final regular season game. I'll be doing more women's and men's basketball with them coming up. Also, we're still waiting to find out, we probably will next week, where the Jags are going, the Knights are going bowling for the 8th straight year while the Gators are sitting at home. Let's see, there's that. Of course, Student Game Podcast at 8:40 p.m. Eastern. What am I forgetting, Ernest GJ Christian?
Huddle Up Podcast tonight.
Oh, Huddle Up Podcast obviously as well tonight. Yeah, I think that's finally it. Oh, Duval Dive, of course, on Fridays at 11 a.m. You could see that on any of the YouTube channels here or on these podcasts, or you can watch that live as well on the Pro Sports Fans app, or you can hear it on the 3-point conversion iHeartRadio channel, or on Sunday, 12 to 2 on oldschool101.com. My work with A7B in Sports, also covering the Magic as well. I do a lot of stuff, EJ Christian.
You're a busy man.
But not a joy and privilege, my friend. Until next time, class dismissed.